The moment Meri steps into the courtroom, something in the air changes. It's subtle at first, like a shift in temperature or pressure, the kind you feel before a storm rolls in. People stop whispering. Even cameras, allowed by special permission, reset their focus. As if they know the moment she moves, the story changes. And it does. Because today isn't about family arguments, or custody disputes, or petty drama. Today is about truth. Buried truth. Dangerous truth. Truth that was never meant to find its way into a public courtroom. I watch her walk toward the front. Her footsteps careful, not rushed. She isn't dramatic. She isn't angry. She's calm in a way that almost feels eerie. Like she already knows what's about to happen, and has accepted it. Her hands clutch a thin envelope, old, slightly creased, like it's being opened 1,000 times by trembling fingers. And the closer she gets, the more Kody sits up, eyes narrowing, jaw tightening, as if bracing for an impact he can't dodge. Robyn sits beside him, wiping her face although she hasn't cried yet. It's nerves. You can see it in her fingers, the way they twist the tissue until it's nothing but soft shreds. She keeps leaning toward Kody, but he doesn't respond. He's locked in, staring at Meri, his mind somewhere between fear and fury. The judge clears her throat. Mrs. Brown, the court has not called on you yet. Meri nods politely. I understand, Your Honor, but I believe the evidence I carry is relevant to what has already been presented. Those words fall like a rock into a still lake. Ripples of shock circle the room. Even Christine and Janelle exchange shocked glances. No one knew Meri was bringing anything. No one knew she had something more than heartbreak and old wounds. Not even the audience in the back, who have seen seasons of this family's drama, were prepared for the silent strength in her voice. The judge motions for her to approach. The instant Meri reaches the evidence table, Kody rises abruptly, scraping his chair on the floor. Your Honor, he says sharply, this is unnecessary. She is emotional and— Sit down, Mr. Brown, the judge interrupts. It's the first time anyone's ever ordered Kody around in a tone with no room for argument. He hesitates, eyes darting to Robyn for backup, but even she looks too shaken to help him. So he sinks back down, the defeat flickering across his face for just a split second. Meri opens the envelope with gradual, deliberate movements. Her fingers shake, but her voice doesn't as she says, these documents, they're messages. Messages I found by accident. Messages between my husband— She stops and corrects herself, between Kody and a private investigator. Murmurs start immediately. The judge bangs her gavel. Order, but the murmurs continue, in softer waves, like everyone is trying to process what they've just heard. A private investigator? Hired by Kody? For what? Everyone leans forward. Meri continues. These messages talk about DNA results. Tests he did with Robyn. Tests he never told the rest of us about. Tests that were meant to determine which children he wanted to distance himself from legally. Christine gasps. Janelle stiffens. Even the court stenographer pauses for a moment, realizing the gravity of what she's typing. Robyn bursts into tears. That's not fair. That's not what we— But the judge silences her once more. Mrs. Brown, you will wait until you are addressed. Kody leans forward, whispering harshly, Meri, stop. Think about what you're doing. But she shakes her head. I thought about it for years. Her voice cracks now, not weakly, but like a dam breaking after holding on to too much pressure for too long. Tears well in her eyes, but she simply won't allow them to fall. She has held them for too many nights, too many seasons, too many arguments behind closed doors. When I found the messages, she says, I didn't understand at first. Why would a father test the DNA of his own children without telling their mothers? Why would he hide the results? Why would he prepare legal documents to step back from them? A heavy silence ensues. Christine looks horrified, like her whole world is falling apart before her eyes. Janelle clutches the edge of the bench with her knuckles turning white. Even Robyn, who has always defended Kody, appears traumatized by what's unfolding, and Kody tries to hold on to a strong expression, but his eyes betray him. They flicker with guilt and fear. The judge leans forward, her voice sharp. Mr. Brown, is there truth to these statements? Kody breathes out shakily. Your Honor, this is being taken out of context. Then put it in context, says the judge. He hesitates again. You can see him calculating. Every word, every angle, every possible escape route. He looks at Robyn, who is frantically shaking her head, mouthing something like, don't say anything. He looks at Christine, whose eyes pierce through him with betrayal. And then he looks at Meri, who stares back with a quiet kind of strength he hasn't seen in her for years. Finally, Kody speaks up. I only did the tests because I had doubts. Doubts fed to me. Doubts that I didn't want to believe, but doubts about what? The lawyer presses. Kody looks cornered. About fatherhood. A collective gasp fills the room. Christine stands up immediately. You doubted your own children. Without talking to us. Without asking. Without respecting our trust. Her voice trembles with fury. Years of emotional exhaustion are ignited into something fierce, something raw. Janelle stands, her voice rising. You told us the family was everything. You said nothing mattered more than the kids. Kody raises his voice. I was scared. I was manipulated into thinking. By who? The judge asks. Silence. Everyone knows the answer. And everyone feels the tension shift toward the only person who remains looking at the floor. Robyn. Tears well into her eyes and stream down her face. I didn't mean for it to go that far. I just wanted to know the truth. The truth? Christine snaps. Or control. The courtroom is just seconds away from erupting. The judge bangs the gavel again. Order. Everybody, sit down. Slowly, painfully they sit. And then, something quite unexpected happens. The doors in the rear of the courtroom open. Heavy footsteps echo through the room. People turn. Cameras swivel. Even the judge looks startled. Standing in the doorway is someone no one expected to see, carrying a thick folder in his hand and a look of determination across his face. Someone whose presence sends a shockwave through every member of the Brown family. And the moment they come forward, the whole course of the trial is altered. The figure steps through the doorway, and the courtroom goes silent. His boots hit the floor with slow, controlled confidence, each step echoing through the chamber like a countdown. People lean forward, straining to see his face. Even the judge looks momentarily thrown off balance. And the Brown family? They look like their souls have been ripped out and pinned to the wall. The man walking in is tall, broad-shouldered, with a calm but commanding presence. He's not a lawyer, not a reporter, not a fan of the show. No. He's something far more dangerous, far more unexpected. It's the private investigator. The same one Kody hired. The same one whose messages Meri exposed. The same one Kody hoped would never step foot in this courtroom. He stops at the center aisle, clasping a thick black folder. Confidential. Stamped. Heavy enough to change the course of every relationship in this room. Kody's face goes white. No. No. No, no, no. Why is he here? Robyn frantically whispers. We didn't call him. We didn't call him. Kody, what is he doing? Christine mutters under her breath. Finally, someone who knows everything. Janelle sits frozen, her hands pressed to her mouth. And Meri, she closes her eyes in a devastating mix of relief and dread. Because whatever is in that folder, it is not small. It is not simple. It is not something Kody will talk his way out of. The judge straightens up. Sir, state your name and reason for appearing. The investigator clears his throat. My name is Marcus Hale. I was subpoenaed. Kody's head jerks toward his attorney. Subpoenaed? By who? But the lawyer appears equally bewildered. It wasn't us. Marcus steps forward. Your Honor, I have documents, audio files, and DNA reports requested by the court last week. They arrived late, due to security issues. The whole room is electric. It's as if something is building, ready to burst. Marcus turns slightly, and his eyes meet Kody's. There's no hatred, no anger. Just a look that says, you knew this was coming. Robyn says in a panicky whisper, we have to stop this. Kody, do something. But Kody can't do anything. Not now. Not when the truth has a body and a name, and a folder thick enough to crush his last defense. Marcus places the folder on the evidence table. Its heavy sound, final, like the thud of a judge's gavel. He opens it methodically to reveal pages of documents, clipped photos, printed messages, and sealed test results. The courtroom leans in, as if their collective breath is pulling the papers closer. Your Honor, Marcus begins. My investigation started at the request of Mr. Brown. He contacted me in private and asked for a full genetic background analysis of several children. The lawyers, the audience, the judge, they wait. Marcus continues. He said it was to resolve personal uncertainty and emotional distress. But the private messages he sent me told a very different tale. Christine clenches her fists. I knew it. Meri's gaze does not leave the floor. Janelle's voice cracks as she asks in a hushed tone, why? Why would a father have such doubts? Marcus looks at her softly. Ma'am, those doubts didn't come from him. The courtroom gasps. Robyn flinches so hard she almost drops her purse. Kody's head whips toward Marcus. Stop. Don't put this on her. I asked you. I made the choices. Marcus looks unconvinced. Sir, the messages seem to point a finger at another household member as being very instrumental in these suspicions. Robyn's voice breaks like glass. You're lying. But Marcus raises a tablet. I have timestamps, Mrs. Brown. Messages, voice recordings, screenshots, all recovered and verified. Even the judge sits back, stunned. Marcus looks down at the folder again. But that's not the shocking part. The shocking part is what the DNA results actually revealed. Everyone stiffens. Christine whispers, "Oh my God." Janelle says, please don't let it be something that hurts the kids." Meri raises her head finally, bracing herself. Marcus takes a deep breath. The tests showed conclusive results, but not the results Mr. Brown expected. The judge motioned, "Explain." Slowly, Marcus opens the sealed envelope. "Your Honor, these are the original reports, unaltered." And they state, with 99.98% certainty, that he stops. The courtroom leans in. Every single child tested is biologically Kody's. Silence. Stunningly bone-deep silence. Kody leans back, his breath catching in his throat. Robyn freezes. Christine's eyes widen in a mix of shock and vindication. Janelle makes a sound, half laughter, half sob. The words of Meri, while whispering, are, "All this pain, all those years. And it was all for nothing." Finally, the voice of the judge slices through the air. "So the concerns were unfounded?" Marcus nods. "Yes, there was never any genetic issue. There was never any doubt." Christine stands up, tears welling up in her eyes. "So my children, our children, were tested behind our backs, for absolutely no reason." Marcus slowly turns toward her. "No reason related to biology, ma'am." Robyn erupts, jumping to her feet. "That's not fair. That's not the whole truth. You weren't there when the doubts began. You don't understand. I was trying to protect our family." Christine spins to her. "Protect? You almost ripped us apart." Robyn starts crying harder. "I didn't mean to hurt anyone. I didn't know Kody would take it this far." Kody slams his hand on the table. "Stop blaming her." But for the first time, no one listens to him. The judge looks at Marcus. "You said there was more. What else did you find?" Marcus hesitates. "Yes, Your Honor. Something more serious. Something that may shift the case entirely." The courtroom tenses again. "What is it?" asks the judge. Marcus looks to the Brown family, almost in apology. "During the investigation, I found digital correspondence that suggests financial impropriety." Kody's eyes widen. "What? That's not this," Marcus says, setting more papers on the table. "Will need to be reviewed carefully. But the initial evidence points to misallocation of family funds, forged signatures, and unauthorized withdrawals." Meri gasps. Christine covers her mouth. Janelle whispers, "Kody, tell me you didn't." Even Robyn steps back, horrified. Kody's voice breaks. I didn't do anything illegal. I didn't." Marcus cuts him off. "Sir, the messages imply someone else had access. Someone you trusted." Everyone turns toward Robyn. Her face crumples. "It isn't true," she cries. "I didn't steal anything. I never meant anything like this to happen." The judge bangs the gavel. "Enough." Her voice carries, clear and decisive. "We will recess for 30 minutes. When we return, we will examine the financial evidence." Murmurs, panic, whispers, tears fill the courtroom. Reporters race toward the exits to file early updates. Lawyers scramble to gather papers with frantic hands. Meri sits alone, quietly crying. Christine clutches the bench, shaking. Janelle looks like the ground just dropped beneath her feet. And Kody stands, motionless, staring at nothing, like the truth finally broke through every wall he ever built. But Robyn. She turns toward the exit, toward Marcus, her face pale as snow. Because she knows what's coming next. And she knows that she cannot hide from it. The courtroom was silent that morning, its atmosphere so still that the near gentle rustling of papers sounded like thunder. Anyone present could feel it. Today's hearing wasn't normal. Something heavy was in the air. Something unspoken, but powerful enough to make your chest tighten. The judge came in. The bailiff called for silence, and all eyes turned to one person, the witness being called to the stand. But this wasn't just any witness. It was someone who had never spoken publicly before, someone whose voice had been missing throughout the entire conflict, someone the family never expected to face under oath. The doors of the courtroom opened, and gasps echoed across the room as Aurora stepped forward. Not Janelle, not Christine, not Meri, not even Robyn. It was Aurora, normally quiet, sheltered, emotional, and protected from the public eye. She walked to the stand with trembling hands, but her eyes were focused, determined, even. The judge watched her carefully, sensing that this testimony might reshape everything. Even Kody was leaning forward, looking confused and quite nervous. He hadn't expected this. No one had. The clerk asked Aurora to raise her right hand and swear to tell the truth. Her voice cracked slightly as she said, "I do." And then, silence again, thick enough to feel like the entire courtroom held its breath. This was the moment. Allegations of favoritism, financial control, emotional strain, collapsed marriages, and the unraveling of a family once kept together by claims of faith and unity had piled up from every direction for months on end. A session after session of courtroom exposure had revealed fragments of truth, but nothing but hit the emotional core of the family. Until now. Aurora had looked out toward the judge, then to her dad, Kody, his face an odd mixture of panic and fatherly concern. "Your Honor," she started, her voice trembling, but clear. "I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to talk about our family in a courtroom. But I realized staying quiet was hurting all of us. And it was hurting me." The judge nodded gently. "Take your time." Aurora took a deep breath. Suddenly, everything changed. "I want to talk about what really happened between Dad and the rest of the family. And I want to tell the truth about what it was like for us, the kids." Suddenly, a murmur swept the gallery. Even the lawyers turned and looked at one another. This wasn't the way it was supposed to go. Aurora continued. "People would say for years that Dad had chosen Robyn's side, that he'd stopped caring about the other wives, that he'd forgotten his other kids. I heard those things. I saw those things. And I lived through the consequences." The courtroom listened, silent, frozen. "But I need to explain something," she said. "It wasn't simple. It wasn't just favoritism. It was fear." Everyone leaned forward. Dad tried to control everything because he was scared of losing everyone. And the more scared he got, the more extreme he became. The more rules he made. The more pressure he put on us. The more mistrust he created. And the more people he pushed away. Kody's face shifted, looking somehow both stunned and betrayed. Yet Aurora wasn't done. "And yes, he treated us differently. My siblings and I, Robyn's kids, were protected. Sometimes overprotected. Sometimes smothered. And I know that hurt the other kids. It hurt my brothers and sisters from the other families. They felt abandoned, and they were right to feel that way." The courtroom received a deep emotional blow. Silence. "But it also hurt us. He wasn't just protecting us. He was isolating us. We weren't part of the family. We were apart from it. We were the ones who should keep away from others, who were to be cared for and kept at arm's length. We were between the parents and the rumors and fear." Her voice cracked again. "For years, I felt guilty. Guilty for having Dad near me when others didn't. Guilty for wanting peace when there wasn't any. Guilty for being the child everyone said was the reason the family fell apart." A tear escaped down her cheek. Robyn's face was red, quivering, while Meri watched with wide, shocked eyes. Christine looked heartbroken. Janelle stared at Aurora with deep sympathy, as if for the first time she saw her pain. Aurora continued. "I know some people think I was spoiled, or that I was the favorite. The truth is, I felt trapped. Trapped between loyalty and truth. Trapped between love for my dad and the reality that he hurt people. Trapped between wanting the family to be okay and knowing it never would be." She wiped her tears, steadying herself. "And that's why I'm here. Not to defend him, not to attack him, but to tell the truth. Because no matter what anyone thinks, Dad isn't the only one responsible for what happened. We all hurt each other. We all stayed silent when we should have spoken. We all tried to pretend everything was fine when it wasn't. Her voice strengthened, new confidence breaking through. I'm breaking the silence today. Even the judge looked moved. Aurora took another breath, and out came something no one had expected. I want to apologize, not just to the court, not just to my mum, but to all my siblings, every single one, from every house. I'm sorry for the distance. I'm sorry for the imbalance. I'm sorry for the pain. You deserved better. We all did. Gasps, soft cries, even a few sniffles from the back row. Aurora turned toward her father. And Dad, I need to say this. I love you. I really do. But you need to know what your choices did. You didn't just lose wives. You didn't just lose relationships. You lost trust. You lost connection. You lost the family you once said you'd die to protect. Kody blinked rapidly, his jaw tense, trying to hold it together. Aurora continued, I'm not here to punish you. I'm here because the truth matters. And maybe telling the truth will help us all heal. Maybe it will help you understand the hurt you didn't see, or didn't want to see. Her voice softened, and maybe, once for all, we can stop pretending. The courtroom was silent, in emotional shock. It was the judge who finally broke the moment. Miss Brown, thank you for your honesty. Your courage is noted. Slowly, Aurora stepped down, still shaking, but relieved. She did not turn to the audience. She did not turn to the attorneys. She walked past Kody. She paused, and without turning her head, she whispered, I hope we can do better. Then she exited the courtroom. And just like that, the atmosphere changed. This wasn't just testimony. This wasn't just drama. This was a turning point. For the family, for the case, for the future. The air in the courtroom changes when the clerk says, Next witness, Robyn Brown. You can almost feel the ripple of the shift across the room. Murmurs rise, people lean forward, and even Kody straightens in his seat, as if he already knows what's coming. Robyn walks to the stand with slow steps, each measured, like someone walking toward a cliff she isn't sure she can survive. Her hands are shaking, but her chin stays lifted, in what can only be an effort at looking strong. But it's her eyes that give her away, red, watery, full of fear. She takes the oath, and when she finally sits down, she doesn't look at Kody, not once. And that's when everyone in the courtroom realizes one thing. Robyn isn't here to protect him anymore. The judge's voice is calm, almost gentle. Mrs. Brown, you may begin. Robyn's breath catches in her throat. Her mouth opens, but for a second, nothing comes out. She closes her eyes, like fighting something inside of her. Guilt, fear, perhaps even the truth that she should have uttered long ago. I never meant for things to go this far, she finally whispers. I never wanted any of this. The courtroom leans forward, and the tension becomes a living thing. Christine watches her from across the room, arms folded. Janelle's eyes stare with wide-eyed disbelief. Meri just sits there, expression unreadable, waiting because she knows what's coming. She's waited years for this. Robyn's hands twist in her lap. Your Honor, Kody asked me to do things I didn't want to do. He said it was for the family. He said it was to protect us. She swallows hard. But it wasn't about the family. It was about control. Kody's face whips toward her, eyes wide. Robyn, what are you doing? She finally turns her head, meeting his gaze with strength nobody had expected from her. Telling the truth. A gasp sweeps the courtroom. "You don't know what you're saying," Kody hisses. "You're confused." "No," she says quietly. "For the first time, I'm not." She wipes her eyes, her voice shaking but steady. "I lied for him. I covered for him. I signed papers I didn't understand because he told me it was for unity. I stayed silent when I should have spoken up. And now I see how many people got hurt." The judge leans forward. "Mrs. Brown, are you saying that you participated in withholding information from the court?" Her face crumples. Yes, I did." Heavy, snow-like silence engulfs the room. Even the air feels still. She takes a long breath. "Your Honor, the documents Meri brought earlier, they're real. Every single one. I knew about them. I helped hide them. And I knew the consequences if they were ever found." Gasps and whispers, even a few shouts from the back, erupt from the audience. The judge bangs the gavel. "Order! Order in the court!" When the silence is restored, the judge asks, "Why did you hide them, Mrs. Brown?" Robyn's voice softened into a trembling whisper. "Because he told me to, and because I was afraid of losing him." Kody stands up abruptly. "This is ridiculous. Robyn, you are letting them manipulate you. It's all—" "Sit down, Mr. Brown," the judge orders sharply. His jaw tightens, but he obeys. Robyn looks devastated. "Kody, I loved you. I did everything you asked. But you never told me the truth. Not once." Her eyes fall. "You kept secrets from me too." It hits Kody like a slap. His face twists in confusion and anger. "What secrets? What are you even talking about?" Robyn hesitates. "The DNA test." Silence befalls the courtroom once more. Christine leans forward. "What DNA test?" Robyn nods slowly, tears streaming. "The one Kody had done 2 years ago, without telling any of us." Meri's jaw drops. Christine's eyes widen. Janelle looks like she just forgot how to breathe. Kody shakes his head violently. "Robyn, stop." For the first time, she raises her voice. "No, I'm done covering for you." Shock ripples across the courtroom. Robyn addresses the judge, her voice barely above a whisper. "He tested one of the children, without permission, without telling the mothers. He said it was to clear his name. But it wasn't. He wanted to prove something. Something he was too afraid to face." The judge says, "Mrs. Brown, are you saying the test proved an anomaly?" Her face breaks completely. "Yes." People gasp again in the gallery. Even the reporter, scribbling notes, looks stunned. "Which child?" the judge asks with caution. Robyn hesitates. She swallows hard. I can't say it publicly. It's too damaging." "But the court will need the results," says the judge, "for the integrity of the case." Robyn nods. "I'll send them in." Then she slowly raises her hand and points. Not at Christine, not at Janelle, not at Meri, but to Kody. "He already knows," she says quietly. "That's why he's been panicking. That's why he's been attacking everyone. Because the DNA test proved he isn't the father." The room explodes. People shout. People gasp. A woman in the back even cries out, "Oh my God." Kody's face goes white, then red, then something twisted between rage and fear. "You don't understand," he shouts. "It's not true. The test was wrong. This is a setup." The judge slams the gavel down. "Enough." Robyn sobs into her hands. "He begged me to keep it a secret. He said it would ruin him. And I believed him. I protected him. But I can't lie anymore. Not after everything that's happened." Christine, leaning in, whispers, "I knew something was wrong." Janelle mutters, This changes everything. Meri's eyes soften. Not triumph, not anger. Something more complicated. It's the look of someone who's seeing the truth she always suspected, finally spoken aloud. The judge asks, "Mr. Brown, is any of this true?" Kody stammers. Your Honor, I can't." His voice cracks. He looks small, weak, exposed. And then, something that nobody expected happens. He sits down. He bows his head. For that silence speaks louder than any words ever could. Robyn wipes her cheeks, composes herself, and goes on. "There's more," she whispers. Christine utters. "More?" Robyn nods. "Yes, because the DNA test wasn't the only secret. There's another reason he wanted those documents hidden. Another reason he tried to silence Meri." She takes a deep, shaky breath. "Because the person that test did match is someone Kody never wanted anyone to find out about." The judge leans forward. "Who?" Robyn looks down at her hands, trembling violently. "I can't say it out loud," she says. "Not until I see the court order. I'm terrified, Your Honor." Tears drip onto the wooden stand. The judge nods slowly. "We will handle this delicately. Court is in recess for 30 minutes, so I can review this new information. Everyone remain available." The gavel strikes. Everyone stands, but nobody moves. It is a room too stunned, too broken, too full of questions. Meri exhales sharply. Christine whispers to Janelle. Robyn collapses into her seat, emotionally destroyed. And Kody, he walks away from the table, his hands shaking, his breathing uneven, like a man whose whole life is falling apart in front of cameras and witnesses. But just before he leaves the room, he turns his head slowly, eyeing each woman he once claimed as family. And then he stops, staring right at the door to the judge's chamber. For within that room, the judge is about to read the DNA results. Results that would end it all. The courtroom feels different after the recess. Heavier, colder, as if something dangerous sits in the air, waiting to strike. The people return to their seats, whispers from each corner. Nobody knows what the judge is going to reveal, but they all feel it. The thought that whatever is written inside those DNA papers will tear open the truth like a wound that has never healed. The bailiff opens the judge's door. When the judge steps out, his face is unreadable, calm, controlled, but with a tension around the eyes that tells everyone this is not ordinary information. Even the reporters stop typing. The cameras freeze in place. The tension was electric. Kody sits down stiffly, shoulders locked, eyes darting towards the judge like a man bracing for an explosion. Robyn keeps her head lowered, unable to meet anyone's gaze. Christine and Janelle sit side by side, faces tight with anticipation. Meri watches quietly, hands folded, but even she can't hide the tremor in her fingers. The judge clears his throat, speaking slowly. The court has reviewed the newly submitted DNA results. Due to the sensitive nature of this evidence, I will summarize only what is necessary for the legal record. You could have heard a pin drop. Kody's knee bounces up and down uncontrollably. He wipes his palms on his pants. For the first time, he looks truly terrified. The judge lays the papers on the bench. The test in question was conducted privately by Mr. Brown approximately 2 years ago. Kody swallows hard, without knowledge or consent of the mothers involved. A soft wave of gasps fills the room. The judge continues. This DNA test was performed to determine the biological parentage of one minor child. Robyn closes her eyes and readies herself. The results, according to the judge, confirmed that Mr. Brown is not the biological father. The room erupts again, shouts, whispers, disbelief. Kody grips the table like it's the only thing holding him up. Retention booster. What the judge says next pushes this case into a place no one saw coming. The judge lifts a hand to silence the room. But there is a second result, he goes on, which Mr. Brown tried to conceal. Every head in the courtroom snaps upward. The judge says, the test identified a biological relative who is connected to the child. Kody's face blanches in color. He clutches his chest as if the air has turned to ice. Janelle whispers, relative, as in someone close to him. Christine mutters, this is bad. Really bad. The judge looks directly at Kody. Mr. Brown, since it was you who ordered the test and kept its results a secret, the court wants to make sure that you know the consequences of withholding such information. Kody stammers, Your Honor, I didn't know how to handle it. That does not excuse your actions. Kody's voice cracks. I was trying to protect my family. Suddenly, Robyn's voice cuts through the room. No, you were trying to protect yourself, Kody. Don't lie again. He glares at her, his eyes hot with shame and anger. But he doesn't deny it. The judge proceeds. The relative identified in the test is a person who has direct affiliation to the Brown family. More whispers. Christine covers her mouth. Meri's eyes widen slightly. Not surprised, but bracing. The judge looks back at the papers. The result indicates a 99.7% likelihood the biological father is a close paternal relative. Kody closes his eyes tight, as if hoping the world will disappear. Christine whispers, Oh my God, that means... The judge cuts through her voice. Because of the extreme sensitivity of this finding, I will not announce the name publicly, but it is listed here. The judge holds up the page. And, Mr. Brown, the judge says sharply, you knew this. You knew who the biological father was. Yet you deceived your family and the court. The courtroom falls silent again, this time darker, heavier, as if the very air has frozen over. Robyn wipes away her tears. Just say it, Kody. Just tell them the truth. Slowly, he shakes his head. I can't. She whispers, you already lost everything. What's left to protect? Christine rises. Your Honor, unless a name is spoken, he will always manipulate us. We have a right to know. The judge raises a hand. Mrs. Brown, please sit. I understand your frustration, but the court must follow due process. Suddenly, Kody rises to his feet, his voice shaking. I didn't want to destroy this family. He pauses, breathing heavily. But the truth, I didn't choose it. It came for me. The judge looks at him. Are you ready to admit what the DNA showed? Kody opens his mouth, hesitates, then shuts it again. You can feel the frustration building in the courtroom, the waiting, the tension, the truth hanging between them all like a blade. Christine slowly shakes her head. He's still hiding it, even now. Robyn whispers, Please, Kody, just end this. He looks at her, his eyes broken and desperate. If I say it aloud, everything changes. Meri rises to his feet suddenly, calm but firm. It already has. The judge folds his hands. Brown, if you do not name the person, the court will announce it on your behalf. Kody's voice breaks. Don't, please. Then you will speak. Kody is shaking terribly. He wipes his face. His hands are shaking while holding on to the table. It wasn't supposed to happen, he whispers. Christine gasps softly. Janelle clutches the edge of her seat. Robyn looks like she's holding her breath. Kody continues, his voice cracking. I thought I could fix it before anyone found out. I thought I could protect the child. Protect all of us. The judge presses. Pooh, Mr. Brown. Kody finally looks up. His eyes are red, hollow, defeated. It was my brother, he says. Shouts erupt in the courtroom. Reporters scramble. Christine freezes, hand over her mouth. Janelle is whispering. His brother? No, that's impossible. Robyn bursts into tears. The judge slams the gavel down. Order. But the room is spiraling into chaos. Voices everywhere. People standing. The energy wild. Kody looks small, crushed under the weight of what he finally admitted. He came to visit 2 years ago. There were mistakes, lies, things none of us understood. Robyn shakes her head. You told me he forced you to hide it. You lied to me about that too. Kody's voice rises. I didn't know what else to do. Christine comes forward, her body trembling with anger. You let all of us believe it was something we did. You blamed us. You let your wives fight each other while you hid this. Kody covers his face with both hands, breaking down. The judge firmly repeats, this revelation is going to need further hearings, and the involvement of your brother is now a legal issue. Kody falls back into his chair, defeated. Robyn outright cries. Christine and Janelle glare at him with anger and heartbreak. Meri silently looks at him, her face unreadable, like she is processing years of manipulation unraveling in one moment. The judge says, there will be an emergency review of custody, financial responsibility, and possible criminal implications. Everyone looks shocked. Even Kody jerks his head up. Criminal? He whispers. Yes, says the judge. Charges could be filed for withholding evidence, falsifying information, and obstructing the court. Kody's hands shake violently. Your Honor, please, I didn't mean. But the judge cuts him off. Court will reconvene tomorrow morning with new counsel present. Mr. Brown, you are not to leave the state. Your passports will be held by the court. Gasps echo through the room again. Kody's head falls. He looks crushed, defeated. Robyn sobs harder. Christine lets out a sharp breath. Janelle shakes her head in disbelief. Meri just watches, a long, slow breath leaving her chest. The judge stands up. Court's adjourned. The gavel falls like thunder. Everybody rises, yet nobody makes a move, because tomorrow, the fallout begins, and whatever comes next will change the Brown family forever.